Christina,
Brian,
are you ready for some Vulfpeck?
not yet.
Okay, here we go.
Can you, no, before
Question.
you play, can you speak
Yes.
to Sleepify?
Sleepify.
Oh, come on. Everybody knows about Vulfpeck and Sleepify. That's why I know about them.
Oh, go ahead. Tell us all about it.
Okay, this is not completely accurate. I was hoping that Brian would know because he reads liner notes. And I feel that you're more out and about in the world of trade press.
Sure.
But I think it was Vulfpeck, did I say it right?
Yep.
Okay, good. So knee-high socks and shorts, in addition to, they did a fundraiser where they put, I think, 8 hours of silence on Spotify and told their fans that if they would just put that on at night and go to sleep with it, that the funds that were raised off of them playing Sleepify on Spotify would fund a free tour.
Right.
And there was a ton of plays of Sleepify or whatever they called their Spotify no sound recording. And I think they got wrist slapped, but also kind of grudgingly lauded for their creative use of the technology. And this is the human ingenuity, Brian, that I'm talking about. Like there's an ingenuity to humans and their tech where people do things you never thought they would do with it
Yes.
over and over.
Vulfpeck is definitely does that a lot.
And my
They
other impression
definitely.
is that they really love practicing together.
Yes. And they look like they're having fun when they're doing
Yeah,
their stuff.
consistently.
Yeah.
Okay, here we
Yep.
go.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to
I've also heard their pancake song.
okay. All right. And if this one seems familiar, just let me know. All
Sometimes
right. Let's.
artists sound the same from song to song.
Well, that's true. That's true.
He's on the scene. He's the first to leave. Drinking Ovaltine since he was 14. He's self-aware. He gave the first TED talk. Can't remember the name. Treat you all the same. Oh, wow, he's a wow, he's a oh, he's a wow, he's a oh. Yeah, he's not a duck guy. I said he's not a duck. He ain't no duck. He's a funky duck. Oh, he's a funky duck. I said that he's a funky duck. Funky duck. Funky, 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 funky duck. Oh, wow, he's a I said, ooh, ooh, a funky duck. He's a funk. He's a funky duck. Funk, the he's a funky duck. I thought I saw a funky duck around here somewhere. He owns a truck. A buddy drives a Saab. Oh!
Good job, everybody.
There you go. It's the
Yeah,
Funky Duck.
Funky Duck. And I feel like we just saw a room full of multi instrumentalists having a super fun time
I
in a
think that would be
basement.
accurate.
Are they in a band
Yeah,
house? They feel like they might be in a band house, but that could just be their
it could be.
practice
I don't know.
space.
Yeah, yeah. They. I like how they embrace the lo-fi
Me too.
video
That's my
aesthetic.
favorite.
Yeah, Yeah.
But the other thing too about lo-fi, if art is a snapshot of who we are at a given moment in time, and that's why, like, we make our art. Hopefully, it's not Ed Wood level, but we make it, we finish it, and then we kind of open up to making the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no place to hide in lo-fi. Like, if you were wondering, I mean, I guess maybe that could have been AI produced, but I really highly doubt it.
At this point, no, I would doubt
At this
it.
point, no. I mean, I guess,
Yeah.
but I feel like that humans making art is present there. I mean, and they're goofy and they're fun. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not taking themselves super seriously, as they do a great job of making a song about a
Yeah.
funky book.
Exactly.
So, uh, I
Their
love the listening.
personalities as people come through in what they're doing. That's
Mhm.
partly why I like them so much. Yeah.
And the listening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just it's not so much that it's friendly people making music. It feels like it's friends making music,
Yes.
and they have figured out. Okay, it's not rules. It's not etiquette necessarily. It doesn't have to be formal, but there's a way of listening for the music together. It's like you're finding the music together, and that's kind of the high, good, and best place for live performance.
I
And
like it.
it's simpler with less people. So let's walk it back to our earlier conversation on Snarky Puppy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that was great. That'd be a lot of people to get on a tour bus. It's kind of from the 1940s. If they were going to take that many people on the road, they would fill up the backstage so that there was no room for an audience.
Yep.
If they were playing in Ballard 20 years ago. So that was big. It was good. Great. This was smaller. And so just to draw a line between those two, Vulfpeck is kind of big, but there's nobody extra in that room.
Right.
There's no doubled part. Is like in jazz, when they're harassing you during jazz training with your voicings as a piano player, they go through and it's almost like they'll comment and say, well, that you got doubled notes in there. And actually, maybe they don't say that anymore because they are allowing people to express themselves more fully and define their voices in jazz school. Different jazz schools have different philosophies. Letting all that go, this idea of no doubling, that it's kind of like if you were in a Latin band with those 5-person percussion sections, everybody's got a part that's layering it. It's like being able to find white space
Mm.
for parts.
Mm-hmm.
And then be loose about it. Like, it doesn't have to be overly formal, but there's a way that they're breathing together. They're using space. You can hear everybody. And that's the other thing too. So we just saw something that had no guitar. I mean, it did have bass, but what happens to keyboards, the tragedy of the commons for keyboard players, is that you can't freaking hear them. They get
Mm-hmm.
washed out. The timbre of a keyboard or a piano is like it's epic and it's orchestral, and I do love it. But as soon as you start adding drums, it gets washed out typically. And as soon as you add guitar, like, we're all in the same timbral register. So I thought it was fun. Everybody got to have foot pedals. Everybody
Yep.
should have their own foot pedal.
Mm-hmm.
And also this ability to timbrally balance so that everybody's got space and nobody's getting washed out. And again, not to be advocating for my tribe, but the people who get washed out in a typical band situation are the keyboard players. Now you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
It's sad. Sometimes the vocals do too, and that didn't happen to either group.
Nope.
You
Nope.
could hear the vocals, you could hear the keyboard parts.
So it's funny to juxtapose the like the care and that they put into the sound and the mixing and the parts with the visual graininess of the video and the
That's perfect.
that vibe. It's like, yeah, great
It's like
match.
some kind of like raw footage
Yeah.
proof of concept that they could do it live. And
Right.
the other thing I will say for both so 2 out of the 3 things we saw today, I was distracted in the first video. It was a perfectly fine video and a very nice song, but they weren't actually playing what we were hearing.
Right.
And so just kind of processing, like trying to find out who was making that sound. And in the case of the other 2 videos, I might have had questions around who's mixing that sound, but who's playing that sound was what the footage was capturing.
Right.
The only way you can do that really is to record the session live in a studio.
Right. Yeah.
And then the thing that's interesting throughout all this is what's the role of producer and what's the role of DIY. And I think DIY has been an important corrective. Wow, I am sounding so pompous. I'm
No.
so pompous. But the ability for people to either make it all the way themselves if they happen to have recording gifts, which I don't really, but that idea that you can do a lot of this at home without the pressure of the clock and without the pressure of bleeding cash.
Right.
And what might you find as you explore at home? So I feel like Vulfpeck has kept the heart of DIY, and they're doing it professionally. I think they're able to make their own recording decisions. I think they've got recording chops. Like what we heard in that grainy
Oh, yeah.
basement was very cleanly recorded.
Right. Yep.
So you can do it at a studio. You can do it in your basement. There's a need for recording aptitude, either in the band or to find great collaborators who've got that gift. So secretly, in all of the things we just saw today, there was a producer somewhere
Yes.
making production decisions.
Yep. And yeah, some more ham-fisted than others. Is that what you're trying to say?
What did you just say? That last part? What was the word?
So some of them making decisions a little more ham-fisted than others.
Ham-fisted. I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard the word differently. Yeah. There's a. So I'll just this. Here's my little parting ramble.
Yes.
It takes a crap load of work and bravery to get music out into the world. And some people have more support behind them, I guess, but you could also say they have more overhead over them. Like to be part of the larger or more traditional recording establishment or record labels, like they're doing well, but it's just like if you've got a big organization, you've got a lot of overhead. I mean, that was even the thing I said about looking at Snarky Puppy. I'm like, how would they take this on the road?
Right.
How might we achieve that? And it's possible. Again, I think about musicians are an ingenious group.
Yeah. Why
So.
they're almost creative.
They might just be called artists.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they might.
creative artists. It's good. They're good.
Yep. Yep.
They're good. They're making stuff and they're finishing stuff and they're sharing it. So Rick Rubin would be proud of them.
Rock on, Rick.
Rock on, Rick. Okay, that was fun.
All right.
Thanks.
Yep.
Wrap.